Hi guys, welcome to Midnight Throttle Therapy. If you're new here, we're going to be playing Mafia, and today we're going to be specifically talking about the cars inside of Mafia. Now, the game takes place in the 1930s, so all the cars are obviously from the time period, and we're going to start off with the Ford Model B. Ford said it himself, you can get any color, any color you want, so long as it's black. So that's what we have it here. The stats in the game are actually pretty accurate. You have 40 horsepower. This came with the i4. It didn't really sell a lot because the V8 was $10 more. The game does offer you to have red, blue, green, and then obviously classic black. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take it for a drive. It's a game, so you can't really see how it handles in real life. We're going to change the body style. Honestly, I think it looks much better as a convertible with the top down, and that's how we're going to drive it. Now, we're just going to go. It gives you a minute to complete the course, but this is the best way to see it. It has very slow acceleration. It is an i4 in real life, which Ford knew going in. This was the successor to the Model A. And I don't know why, but it doesn't handle as well as its V8 version, which you'll see in a little bit. Maybe I'm just awful at playing games, but it just doesn't take corners that well, which I think it boils down to not having enough horsepower to move it, because the body line does change. This is obviously, I believe it's a 1932s when they started making these. And then the V8 comes out, and then I believe that the Bolt V8 or the Ford Model B, or I think it's Model 18 with the V8 engine, has slightly different body lines, and in my opinion looks a lot prettier. But this car in the game, super fun to drive. I'm always looking forward to getting into these historical cars. Like I said, you could go and pick up the Model B, I think for about $475. I believe that's the accurate price, and that's just starting. Obviously, as you go through different trim levels, going from a hard top to convertible is going to change the price. I believe it was a price hike of something like $200. And then you go ahead and you decide, hey, I want a car with a little more oomph back in the day. $500, you're getting a V8 engine, the flathead V8. Why wouldn't you do it? And that's the thing. So with this car that we're driving right now, is that they didn't really sell a lot of them. They were selling out of the V8 so fast that these guys were left on the lot, and so people were forced to choose it, which is really funny. But Ford knew what they were doing. They knew they could get more for it, and so the i4s didn't sell nearly as well, even though it is the same car. And like I said, we'll talk about it here in a minute when we pull up the V8 version. There are also some other car brands in the game. The Schubert is one of them. I believe that's Chevy, but I'll look into it before I make a video. And since we finished, might as well do a victory burnout, which we're not going to really do too well with a 4-cylinder engine. But oh well, still looks cool. And now onto the Ford V8. In my opinion, this is my favorite. This is just my favorite car in the game. I think it's the most beautiful. I think it looks great. It's a lot of fun to drive in the game. Like I said, you can see on the back here, the body line changes and it's a little more subtle, but it's still the same car. You're still pushing everything. You still get green, red. This one has a lot more options with white and blue, and then I think it goes into a darker blue right there, and then this one's pretty much almost gray. I think that's a burgundy, and then a nice dark royal blue, orange, and then back to classic black. And that's the thing, this car handles great compared to the other one. I don't understand if it's just a horsepower thing, but who knows. Alright guys, we're going to be taking out on the track. Same thing as last time. So, the difference between this car and the car you just saw. This is introducing the flathead V8. And what's great about that is that this is the first V8 that's really affordable to the mass market. V8s were usually reserved for luxury cars. Lincoln had a V8, and when they introduced this flathead V8, I believe they switched to the V12 just to keep it, top of the line, luxury. Obviously, it's going to get the best. So you introduce the Ford Model V8. This thing is a lot faster, and it's just slightly more expensive. You're coming in with 221 cubic inches, so you got a 3.6 liter, not the world's biggest. I mean, they're just really starting to get these out. It is the 30s. And top speed, like you saw in the game, you can get up to 80. You can get up a little faster. Obviously, going downhill, you're going to pick up speed, and it does handle a lot better. So, one big thing about this car is that a lot of hot rodders loved it. Everyone who could get their hands on it were absolutely thrilled about this. You could modify it, make it so much faster. This is the car that you see in a lot of gangster movies that people start driving a lot. Moonshiners. I mean, this is the car that goes on to create NASCAR, which is rooted completely in moonshiners and trying to get away. So you have this massive jump in technology that is available to average Joe Schmo, and everyone is super excited about it. And why wouldn't you be? You can get a car that's so much faster, and you don't even have to spend as much as a luxury car would be at the time. One of the biggest and most infamous people to drive this would be Bonnie and Clyde. And that speaks for itself. It's such a reliable car. It's everywhere. Parts were everywhere for this thing. And that's what makes it such an iconic piece, is that in the 30s, it changed the game, and everyone had to start catching up to Ford. Now, Ford's not going to stay on top. Obviously, they make a lot of mistakes, and if you look at them now, they're making tons of mistakes there, but we'll get to that in a minute. I know I said we'll get to that in a minute, but we're going to take the car and we're just going to drive it. And totally unrelated to cars, I think that a lot of people are going through, at least around my age, they're going through things, they're not entirely sure what they want to do. And I think it is very important to find something that you're passionate about. And no matter how tough it is, if you want to do that thing, if you want to pursue it, then absolutely go for it. I just got back into college after a few years of, essentially dropping out. And I was in class the other day and I realized I love cars. Crazy about them. I prefer cars from the 70s. Those are my favorite. I like classic cars. I like the big three. I don't like what's becoming the big three and reliability issues, and how a lot of cars are just not. Cars are such an important part of our life. Everybody has a car, or they need one, and they need to be good. Back in the day, you could have a car that would last 300,000 miles if you took care of it, if you did regular maintenance. And now some days you can't even get to the 100,000 mile mark. So it's really sad to see it. And that's the big thing that I want to push on this channel, is doing everything for yourself and not doubting yourself. There's tons of passions. If you're passionate about art, if you're passionate about public speaking, whatever it is, if you have a dream, you have to go pursue it, because it'll never come to you. You have to go and chase that. And that's the biggest thing I think that a lot of people nowadays are so used to getting that instant dopamine hit, and everything is at our fingertips, that when we have to put effort in, it gets tough and we don't want to do it. And unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. It's going to get tough, but just because it gets tough doesn't mean you can't do it. If it's something that you're willing to do, if it's something that you want to go further in, then you have to push yourself. If it's tough, then maybe you're not being hard enough on yourself. I'm not saying be so hard on yourself to the point that you can't get out of bed and you're dreading the day because you are thinking that every day ends in failure. Every day doesn't end in failure. Sure, there are failures along the way, but those are little check marks really on our journey that are allowing us to get further and further every day. And those check marks are important because that's when we start realizing that, hey, I failed at this, but I didn't fail at something that I had failed previously at. And that's how you keep getting better. So as you get farther and farther, one day you realize that your failure is something that makes every other failure look like dust in the wind. Anyway, I just want to say to anyone out there who's struggling and trying to pursue what they want, go for it. If you don't go for it, you'll never know, and there's no point in not knowing. Everyone fails at something. You might as well fail at the thing that you want to until the point that you aren't anymore. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Obviously, the next video will be a lot more in depth, but I just wanted to get this one out, and I will be posting more videos soon. Thank you.